And now, the Sleephawk Worldwide Podcast. Here are your hosts, Brandon Staton and Tyler Hansbrough.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Sleephawk Worldwide Podcast. This is Sleep Dawg with the Big Hawk.
Sleep Dawg, it was a great weekend. I know you're extremely busy, but the Tar Heels, we smacked the Dukies. We completed the regular season sweep. We took the ACC regular season title. Went over to Cameron, smacked them with an L, and it was a great day to be a Tar Heel yesterday. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel, and we've got a great pod. We'll break it down. I'm excited to be with you, Sleep Dawg.
God bless America. What a great weekend for Sleep Dawg. Sleep Dad, officially, at this point. Yeah, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the Duke. Just when you think, man, Carolina can't treat you any better. God bless. There's so many storylines here. Coach K was there. They need to stop inviting that guy around. The Heels can't lose when K's in the building. We'll get into that. We're going to Cormac Ryan, just career night. We'll probably even just blaze right on past Harrison Ingram, just another 10 rebound, just hard-nosed, efficient game. We're going to talk about the Filipowski trip. I'm going to unload, okay, on my thoughts about that. We'll talk about the fan behavior and the lack of outcry compared to the court storming fiasco. We'll talk about the bad officiating. We'll break down the ACC, how that shook out. Again, we know who the champs are. We always know. We'll talk about the ACC tournament seeding, how that's going to shake out, and maybe dive into whether or not the Heels at this point will get a 1 seed. I think everybody's going to know our thought on that. And then we'll talk about some postseason awards. This is going to be a Duke-filled, Carolina-filled pod here, guys, just the way we like it. Before we get into it, I want to remind you guys, we are excited to be working with Autograph. They're co-founded by Tom Brady. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to the best college basketball content, fan challenges, and exclusive rewards like discounted tickets for diehard fans. All for doing the things you already do as a fan, like following your team in the news, the Tar Heels, following your favorite podcast, Sleephawk Worldwide, and more. Download the free Autograph app in the Apple App Store. Use referral code SHWW. That's referral code SHWW. See you at the game. Great time to download that because, we're about to get hot and heavy with some Tar Heel news, all the tournament stuff coming up. It's all in one place. We got the link here in the bottom of the show notes. We got the link in the YouTube notes. We got the link in our Instagram bio. It's on our Twitter bio. It's everywhere. So download the app. Perfect time to do it. Start earning points to listen to the pod. All right. So, guys, Carolina pulled it off, 84-79. It looked like at times it might be a blowout. It looked like at times like might be one of the most forgettable nights as Duke really started to kind of claw back. But in the end, wire to wire, dude. I think I saw where Duke went up 2-0 in Chapel Hill and never led again. The rest of the maybe that 2-0 isn't right. But hell, in the 2 games, the Tar Heels damn near went wire to wire in both of them. And they did in Cameron. Nobody cares what I think, Big Hawk. Let's hear it. What do you got?
Well, it was a career night for Cormac Ryan. And I think he became the 7th Tar Heel to have 30 at Cameron. And, man, I tell you what, I know he's taken some criticism and his, outside shot has been a little inconsistent. I think he made up for that last night. And it just shows you when we get production like we got from him, this team is unbelievable. And I really feel like we controlled the whole game. I'm not even sure Duke had the lead at any point in the game. Yeah, we are. I think our largest lead was 15. I felt like we dominated the game. I felt like we controlled the boards. I think we did a very good job on Filipowski in the first half. He came out really hot in the second, had a few problems, but I will say, like I've always said, is I think they're playing Filipowski wrong. Filipowski got into foul trouble again. And also, we'll talk about the refs. We'll jump into this. He should have fouled out about 3 times last night. The refs just said, we're not going to call a foul on Filipowski. We don't care what he does after he got his 4th. There's no reason for that by the refs. Like, hey, listen, I know we're going to let the players decide the game, but if you play undisciplined basketball and you foul somebody, you got to call it. It doesn't matter. If you're not letting you're not deciding the game. The player made a mistake, so it's your job to call those. And that was a little frustrating, but I really felt like Filipowski kept them kind of somewhat close and hanging around the rim. In the second half. But besides that, I thought we did an unbelievable job. I thought, you talked about, I thought Harrison Ingram played very, very well. And we can look at it like, RJ Davis, I mean, it's not his best game, but he hit shots when we needed him to hit shots. When we were looking for buckets, we needed a bucket. RJ came through for us. And listen, I mean, at this point in the year, listen, it's about winning. It's never about stats. And, I'm really proud of this team. And I will say that, Sleep, based off of what they went through last year and kind of the criticism, and nobody built this team up to win the ACC regular season title. Nope. And you've got to give Hubert a lot of credit. He did an unbelievable job. His portal additions, especially Harrison Ingram, Cormac Ryan, have been unbelievable. The team is playing with great spirit. And the guys look like they really enjoy basketball. They're playing hard, and it's been really fun to watch. And RJ Davis, his growth and development this year, kind of the breakout player in college basketball, has been unbelievable. And I've never had confidence in a player, in recent memory, he's going to get us a bucket. I know when RJ goes to the free throw line, he's going to make it. You can't leave him open. And he's not a selfish player. He doesn't dominate the ball and take bad shots. I really feel like he plays within the game, and that's what I love about it. This team this team has a lot of weapons, and I don't think that a lot of people understand how deep or how talented, across the board this team really is. And I know a lot of people want us to use the bench, but man, do not underestimate our starting five. And we have production on the bench. By the way, Seth Trimble, I've always said he does not get the credit he deserves.
Not even close.
Yeah. And, I'm just really proud of this team. I'm proud of the coaching staff. They did an amazing job. And, as a Tar Heel fan, it's always great whenever you can take the regular season title. It comes down to the rivalry game at Cameron. That was statement. I know Coach K enjoyed it. He had a front row seat. We're going to start inviting him to the Smith Center whenever we play the Dukies, because it just seems like, like you said, they can't win when he's in the building. But no, it was great to see, Sleep, and I'm really happy for this team. But also, this team has a lot to prove. I mean, the season's far from over, and this gives us a little bit of momentum going into the ACC tournament, which is I think we win a couple games. I think it's going to greatly help our resume. And, right now, I still think we're borderline for a 1 seed, but win a couple games, I think we may get it. But, that's what I am. And, dissecting the game, we're just a better team than Duke. And you watch both games. We controlled the game in the Smith Center and at Cameron. Even though we dominated in a little bit different fashion at Cameron, we had outside production. We had players, kind of get hot, and at Cameron, and then at Smith Center, we just bully balled them and beat them up inside, which we kind of did in Cameron too. A lot of people don't talk about that. We out rebounded them pretty handily, and so we dominated the boards. But we're just a better team than Duke, and it's that simple.
Yeah, and the biggest thing to me, I think, and you say this all the time, is we closed the game, right? I mean, I think there were times where it was nerve-wracking. I mean, it's certainly nerve-wracking for me. There's an issue with, Cadeau hitting that just incredible shot with McCain standing on his foot behind the 3-point line. What could have been a 4-point play ended up being a 2-point play, right? And that kept some hope alive late, right? And I think anybody would have liked to have seen us win by a little more comfortable margin. But dude, this is Duke, Carolina, right? And to close that game in Cameron, the way they did, going in and with everything on the line, right? I thought it was an incredible game. You mentioned RJ, bunch of contributions without ever even getting to the free throw line, which is crazy to me that RJ Davis, the primary offensive weapon on your very offensive team that scores 84 points at Cameron, in a high stakes, conference championship, full out on the line, doesn't get to the free throw line, speaks for itself. But Cormac Ryan did, and he got there and played great all around. I mean, dude, this guy was on a mission. It was great to see him. I think that this was like a culmination of like who he is as a player. I just think he's gritty. I think he's a gamer. I think if he's on the other team, you hate him. I think if he's on your team, you love him. He's unafraid, man. And I think that's what really this team seems to embody is like RJ's not afraid. Cadeau is not afraid. Ryan is not afraid. Ingram's not afraid. Trimble is not afraid. Like, like one guy that seems to have like, still looking sometimes for his confidence is Jalen Washington. In the last half of the season, he hasn't looked that way at all. He's been, I don't know if there's anybody who I keep saying this, I don't think there's anybody that has more valuable 6 to 8 minutes a game than Jalen Washington that I'm seeing anywhere, because he comes in and it doesn't show up in the box score. But I swear, man, like nobody's going to the paint when that kid's down in the block. So, this team just starts to mature more and more. I think it really it really lends, in my opinion, we were talking before we started, the credit to Hubert Davis and his staff. After last year, you talk about the players bouncing back, but really your coaching staff has got to be sort of thinking, there's a lot of pressure on those guys. And, hitting the portal like they did, I'm always, and I feel like Coach Williams did this really well, which is as the game became more of a one and done and people are really chasing these, huge 5-star recruits. And dude, who wouldn't want some of these kids? This Cooper Flagg kid, who wouldn't want this kid on your team? All right. But the thing of it is like in the recent memory, you see these kids, they put teams together that have upperclassmen that stay together. They're on the fringe, right? You got some NBA guys. And that's the thing as a Carolina fan that like we got to get used to too, is like, okay, you might not have the next NBA superstar on your team. But do you want to win consistently? And I think if you do, right, this is a nice process, like leaning into the transfer portal on the receiving end. I mean, it sucks you get a kid that doesn't play. Like, if a guy like Jalen Washington felt like he wanted a better opportunity and went somewhere, that would suck, right? Because I think everybody likes him and we have high hopes for him. But like, you got to take the good with the bad sometimes, and these kids are going to do what they got to do. So I think Hubert Davis, who we'll talk about this later in the pod, is probably a shoe-in for Coach of the Year. Has done a great job at maneuvering something that a lot of teams are trying to figure out. And it showed this last part of the season, man. This team could have, I think could have gone either way, right? We got to the conference part of the schedule. We had lost those games. It seemed like we lost a pretty decent amount of games to good teams, to UConn, like a few others. And then we just did the opposite, man. We put it together and went, 17-3 in the conference. That's a hell of a year. And the ACC, I don't care what people say about the ACC. Like, we got a lot of teams with winning records in our conference, and there's a lot of tough road games. I don't have it right in front of me, but I know we had a great record on the road. I guess we only lost 2 on the road because we only lost 1 at home, right? To Clemson.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. It's just so many good things coming out of this that I think if you're a team, and I look at this kind of game, and it's like RJ didn't have a good game. Elliot Cadeau was in foul trouble. I feel like Seth Trimble, he played 20 minutes, and they were like incredible 20 minutes. I love watching that kid play. Got raked across the eye. It was inadvertent, but it also wasn't a whistle, right? So, I think these guys have, like, I don't know, man. You get hot. Look, this team 2 years ago got hot. This is the type of team where you get, just imagine if RJ Davis had a normal game. You win that game by 20, run it away, and never, So I still think there's an opportunity here for us to see, in Armando, 9 points, 8 rebounds. That's probably one of his statistically poorer games of the season. 4 for 11. So I think there's a world that exists where this team gets hot, and they don't have 2 guys missing. They have everybody clicking. And if that happens, man, and look, there's only a couple blue chips out there. So if anybody doesn't think this team can make a run, and if you'd asked me, like, got me being honest, a month ago, 2 months ago, I'd probably be like, you know what, I'd love to see it, but I mean, there's a couple really good teams out there, and we talked about it, that we were just on the outside trying to play our way into it. I think Houston has really continued to impress me. I think UConn is still great. I think Purdue is great. But I think we can play with those guys, especially on any given night. And everybody else, I don't see any reason why we're not right at the doorstep of those guys. In my opinion, I'm going to say it. I think Carolina has done enough today to earn a 1 seed. We're gonna get an early draw in the ACC tournament. If we wind up losing the first game, okay, maybe I could see. But unless something like that happens, you're not going to talk me out of the fact this team hadn't earned a 1 seed. I think they're one of the 4 best teams in the country right now.
Absolutely, Sleep, and I'm with you on that. Now, you just talked about the number 1 seeds, and I'll touch on it real quick. Right now, Houston, UConn, and Purdue, you can just go ahead and pencil them in for number 1 seed, just like you mentioned. Still, there's a lot of opinions about that 4th number 1 seed, and in particular, there's 3 teams that a lot of people are really debating about who should get that last 1 seed. They're talking about Tennessee, and I will explain why we should get that 1 seed over Tennessee. First of all, it comes down to head-to-head battle. We smacked them in the Smith Center, and it was not even close. We're a better, well-rounded team, and a lot of people think the SEC is a tough conference this year. It's not. It's really not. Kentucky has a high ceiling in the SEC. Outside of that, I do not see another SEC team going on a deep tournament run. I just don't. I'm not as big on the SEC as a lot of people, and a lot of people have maintained that hype. But we absolutely dominated Tennessee in a head-to-head matchup at the Smith Center. Even though Dalton Connect, even though Dalton Connect is a very good player for Tennessee, unbelievable, having a good year. He's not as good as RJ, and a lot of people are hyping him up. And that's the thing with this national media is somebody starts to say something and other people just kind of run with it. RJ Davis is the 2nd best player in college basketball. It's behind Zach Edey. Zach Edey's going to be National Player of the Year. Then RJ Davis, in my opinion. And then you can start talking about Connect and some of these other guys. So in that last team I'll touch on is Arizona. A lot of people are considering them for that last seed as well. Arizona has a very good record as well. They're 8-3 in quad ones. They're 6-3 in quad twos, which is make you raise your eyebrows. Those quad 2 losses, and also they have a quad 3 loss, which is devastating. And also we had a quad 3 loss, but you know what? Georgia Tech came through for us. They're quad 2 right now. So we have no losses in the quad 3 Sleep. No losses in the quad 4. Really, you shouldn't be playing many quad 4 teams if you're, in the power conference. But hey, some of these guys, their schedule is just
Duke
comical.
loves them.
Yep. Yeah, Duke's a big fan
Grand
of those,
Canyon State University or whatever. Yeah.
And I'll just say, listen, our quad 2 record is 6-2. We have no quad 3 losses. We have no quad 4 losses. Arizona does. So that's what really separates us from them. And I'm not a big fan. I think the net takes into equation how bad you beat teams. And listen, I don't think basketball is played. It's kind of unwritten rule. You just don't I call it Belichicking teams where you just run up the score. Listen, I mean, coaches could do that, but I think the net needs to change that algorithm where they don't really factor in the final score. I think it should come down to wins and losses and the strength of schedule, because teams, they're not going to run up the score, but some coaches will start doing that, and then that's where you're going to have a lot of – it's going to get interesting at the end of games if guys are playing their starters with 2 minutes left and they're up 20. And it's just disrespectful. So I think we're right now, in my opinion, we are that 4th number 1 seed. And I will debate anybody with it. I think we deserve to be in the conversation with UConn, Purdue, and Houston. Those teams are great. UConn beat us head-to-head. They're the hardest playing team in the country right now. They're big, physical. They have a lot of talent. A lot of people have them as a favorite. Listen, it's hard to repeat. That's the only reason why I'm it's just hard to repeat. I know they're really good, and I love Hurley. I think, this is going to be an unpopular opinion with a lot of UNC fans. I mean, he is a high ego.
He's a good coach.
Yeah, and he works the ref, he works the fans. He's he's animated and he's fun to watch. So you got to give him credit. A lot of people are hyping him up to be National Coach of the Year. Not me. I'm going with Sampson from Oklahoma. Or not Oklahoma, good God, Houston. Yeah, he was at Oklahoma a long time ago. But at Houston, because, first of all, they had the best net ranking in college, and also they just joined the Big 12 conference. Everyone hypes up the Big 12. It's new landscape, and they still dominated. They dominated the Big 12.
They're good.
And also there's something inside me that says, listen, give this guy a little more credit than he deserves. Like, hype him up. Like, hey, he deserves to get recognition for what he did in the Big 12. And, people are just not believing in Houston or giving Sampson the credit he deserves. He should be Coach of the Year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And also, Hubert's done an amazing job. He deserves to be in the conversation. He will be the ACC Coach of the Year.
Absolutely.
You can go ahead and book that one. So he deserves to be talked about. Sleep, that is my opinion on those 4 teams. And also we should be that number, the 4th number 1 seed. And we're not getting a lot of talk nationally, but we deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out Kansas State for taking care of Iowa State, because I thought Iowa State was a good team. I mean, I think they are a good team, but you can't lose late. And like to Kansas State, you expect to be up there too. So yeah, I think there's a case to be made. Look, Tennessee lost to Kentucky to close out the season, lost to their rival, I think at home. But prior to that, they'd beaten 2 or 3 ranked teams, a couple of them on the road. So, I mean, look, Tennessee's played, I think Tennessee's gotten hot. I think they're a good team. I'm with you 100%, man. Look, at the end of the day, all you can do is beat the teams that are in front of you. And one of the teams that was in front of us was Tennessee, and we hung 100 on them.
Yep.
Biscuits them.
Dog walking.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. So, let's get into so look, ACC champions, love it, because I mean, anytime you give me all day long, give me the conference championship over the tournament championship, because that's what matters in my opinion. But before we sort of dive into the tournament, let's go back and talk about what everybody's talking about, which is this trip on Filipowski. And this sort of we touched on the officiating. I think everybody knows that the biggest missed call of the entire game was Filipowski tripping Harrison Ingram. And so I'm going to get started on this, and I'm going to try not to go for 45 minutes about it. But and we'll do the fan behavior sort of after this, because this whole thing to me is like, where are these people? This whole court storming thing, right? And I think I'm going to start it by saying this. And I talk a little shit about Filipowski because he's a Duke player and he's a good one. And that's just what Carolina fans do, and that's what Duke fans do about our guys. But I respected him. He's a great player. He still is, as much as I would, hate to admit it. The whole situation on the court storming was total BS. And I'm going to call it like I see it. And this kid wasn't hurt. It was a flop then. It is a flop now. Right. And it created this whole storm of all this stuff, and Shire coming out and, look, man, I get it. Backing your players and all this sort of stuff. But it was like, dude, you got beat. The dude bumped into you. Like, you tried to clock him and it came back to bite you. It was a whole dramatic, like, theater. It was total BS in my mind. Okay. Didn't go forward. And of course, what happens? Just like we call it, kid comes out, plays great and all this sort of stuff. Look, for that to be the backdrop on what happened the other night or last night, and then the only real problem I have with it, beyond the fact that it's just a dirty play, I think kids especially, I think players in general, and I think college kids in general can make dirty plays and not be dirty players. And I felt like that was definitely a dirty play. I mean, I'm sure you want to dig around, you'll find some dirty plays from Carolina guys. But then to come out after the game and say you didn't see him and you didn't know it, like, dude, man up. Just be like, man, I was in heat of the moment. I was frustrated. I wish I hadn't done that. Or hey, man, that's basketball. Like, tell them to get over it, right? Fine. But to sit there and say you didn't do it is just like, dude, come on, man. It's Bush League. And I was just like, I thought the whole thing, the way they handled it, I don't know at the end. And then for, Ingram said that he talked to Teddy Valentine. Teddy Valentine said he didn't see it. It's like, dude, are you serious? These guys are laying in the middle of the floor. That is the play. It was as clear as day. It should have been a call. It should have been reviewed. I think it was reviewed, maybe. Anyway, I don't remember if it was or not. I was a little sidetracked, guys. We'll get into that later. It's just no excuse for it. And I think you're seeing that kind of more and more in sports. You're getting more in the pros and in college of what I think is much needed, which is a spotlight on, you got a spotlight on the players, you got a spotlight on the coaches. And look, fans complain a lot about referees, and that's just what we do. But there's certain calls you can't miss, and that's one of them. And if you're talking about safety and storming the court and all this sort of stuff, then what happened there is a play that can't happen, or at least needs to be, get more attention than it has. And yeah, I think it was a dirty play. And I think given the backdrop of this whole song and dance on the court storming, I lost a lot of respect for Filipowski in that whole situation, man. I think, you're a better player than that. You're sort of above it, and you don't see RJ Davis doing stuff like that. You don't see Armando, really doing stuff like that. You got big guys get down in the mix a little bit. You don't see Harrison Ingram doing stuff like that. You don't see a lot of kids on Duke doing stuff like that, right? I just kind of glad he did it, because now I just don't have to act like I might be wrong about him. I don't like him, period. And that's just how it's going to be. So yeah, I thought I don't know what your thoughts are on the whole play, but I think that I'll end it by saying this. What I'm getting at is I think that turned him from a player that a good player that made a dirty play to a good player that's a dirty player.
Yeah, and Sleep. I have lost a little respect for Filipowski, and before people get hot and bothered, whatever. Listen, I didn't really like how he handled the court storming situation. Kind of acted like a prima donna. Listen, you're not the only time that, there's been many players that have been on the court when there's been a storming, and every one of them have handled themselves in a respectable or, whatever. Like, I didn't think he really handled himself that well. And also, I didn't really like how the media kind of just said, you can't have a different opinion than there should be no court storming. I think court storming is great for college basketball. College basketball, the fan base, the passionate fans, that's what makes it so special. And if they want to storm the court, I'm for it. Maybe you could give your team a little heads up, or also read the room. The students, it's not like they just, you could see you're going to lose, and you could see the students lining up to storm the court. Yeah. Like, hey, find a way to exit the court. Like, just know that, hey, listen, there's probably going to be a court storming. Just like there's a court storming in a lot of away games whenever Duke loses. It's like a tradition. It should be a sign of respect because you're a good program, and teams get excited when they beat you because you have a good history and you've established something that isn't something that happens regularly. So one, they should take that into account. But also the trip the other night, I did think he tried to trip him. And I'm not giving Filipowski the benefit of the doubt anymore. I that is out the window with me. I'm with you, Sleep. There's nothing wrong with saying you made a mistake and apologize. And I know for a fact the ACC won't do a thing about it. The refs won't do a thing about it, but they should. Your actions have consequences. What if it would have, you want to talk about the what ifs would have happened on the court storming? Talk about the what ifs if he could have tripped him or, really hurt him. That's not a basketball play. That's an intentional foul. It's arguably a suspension. But, I don't know. I just think Duke handles these things so badly, and they have this sense of entitlement, which, everyone tends to pull against Duke because of that. And, I love Big Cat. Big Cat cracks me up from Barstool, and I know he's going all in, and I respect it. I thought it was a bad take by Billis when he said you should arrest the students, put a barricade around the court and arrest the students. That was a bad take. We've talked about Billis, a good dude, but that was a bad take. And, he's a Dookie. So, you could see a little bit of, you could see a little bias in that opinion. But, Sleep, I'm with you. I don't know. I mean, I thought Duke was going to be better, but the point is they don't have a rim protector, and they don't have somebody that can guard other big physical bigs. And Filipowski is going to be always vulnerable because he's not that guy. He's not a banger. He's like a dynamic, spinny, crafty, spread the court modern four-man. And, to guard Mondo, who is an old school, bang it, physical player, you're going to get in foul trouble. And I just don't think they've put together the lineup that they're best with either. So that's my take.
The only banger they got is that other dude. And God bless, dude, I'm pretty sure I could dead sprint that dude down the court. And I bet I could get 10 points if that dude was one-on-one with me. And I'm sure he's a hell of a lot better basketball player than I am, but he's got some glaring weaknesses. But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I feel like at the end of the day, there's one old school, very common word I'll use to sum it up. It was just unsportsmanlike, dude. At the end of the day, you got to have more respect for the game, for your opponent, for yourself, really. And if you just plays like that, just put you on the radar and put you up there where I think even in this rivalry, I guess some people relish it, but he doesn't seem like that kind of guy, right? I think Grayson Allen relished it. I think Christian Laettner relished it. Right, there's a few other guys that loved being the guy everybody hated, right? But they don't strike me as that guy. Like JJ Redick didn't strike me as that. Like people hated JJ Redick because he was good, right?
JJ embraced it a little bit in college. He kind of changed. Like he's like everyone. Just
been a long time. I'm starting to lose my memory, But I feel like you even right. Like you were the guy on the other side, and I think. Look, man, it's one thing if you're hated because you're great. And I think that's the ultimate sign of respect. And it turns out, I think people forget that Grayson Allen was a good player, but he wasn't. I don't think he was a great one. I mean, he's a very solid all ACC player, but he wasn't nearly the player he is right now in the NBA, which is interesting. So there's guys out. So I don't want to come across as saying that Grayson Allen wasn't great, and then now he's playing like lights out, and so I look like an idiot. No, he wasn't great in the all-time conversation at Duke. He's great. He seems like he's having a great season. I'll put it that way.
He's playing well in the NBA.
So that's kind of where I'm at with Filipowski, man. Like make them hate you because you're great, not because you resort to some stuff like that. And then that transitions, and then we'll unpack the ACC. But that transitions in this whole thing that happened after the game. Now, admittedly, by the time the game went off, man, I kind of tuned out. I didn't catch up with a lot of this stuff until later. So I saw our guys but I also went back and saw a few videos that were posted online of some of the stuff kids were saying as Carolina's warming up. Now you can speak that in a way I never can. I've never seen Carolina Duke game at Cameron. It's all part of it. I get it. It's for better or for worse. Fans are going to say what they want to say, and they're going to always cross the line. But I think that's important context if it were that Carolina was sort of talking shit off the court on their way off of the court before the drinks started flying. But nonetheless, the immediate outcry that has not happened in light of the way that those kids acted versus the outcry of a dude faking an injury running off the court. Blows my mind. Now I'm sure that come today, which we're recording this on Sunday, come Monday, right? People are gonna have some storylines about it. That was a totally terrible look for Duke. Has a history of some terrible looks, and this one was up there, dude.
Yeah, I'm never for fans throwing stuff. It was a bad look by the Duke fans, but from the TV, I got to be 100% honest. I'm also not a big fan of like when you win a big game, going and talking trash to the other other fans. Like just celebrate it with your team.
I felt that too. Yeah,
I kind of felt like there was no need for our guys to go over there and kind of taunt the other team's fans, but that doesn't mean like you can toss bottles or whatever at the kids. But Yeah, it's a bad look, Sleep. And,
but I'm glad you brought that up though, because that's an important take too, right? Like we're talking about how much Filipowski's doing this or that. Like I felt the same way. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if a drink came first and then that prompted somebody to say something back. I don't know if we started it. I'm gonna assume, like based on everything I saw, it looked like our guys were giving them the business on the way off the court. And either way. Like I felt the same way. I'm kind of glad to hear you say it because I didn't, kind of fan in me didn't want to go there, but you're right too, right? We want to be above it as well. And listen, man, I hope that if whatever, ain't no apology coming from either side, and I'm fine with that. But like, maybe internally have that conversation, learn from it. Look, man, we don't need it because we just showed out. I mean, that's all there is to it. So, yeah, there's and I think too the drinks and the same sort of it's like I guess it's almost like a double technical, right? Like what they call that shit. Because if we hadn't said anything and the drinks fly, then it's definitely on them. If we start it and the drinks don't fly, then it's definitely on our guys, right? It's equally unsportsmanlike, classless, right? And I think both sides are better than that if we're really being honest, and there's just no place for it. And maybe we're just getting old, and maybe this is like what you want to do. I mean, I get it. So,
yeah, man, we're getting older, but also like being respectful, and it was such a big win for us, and I was really happy for the guys. ACC title, regular season title is a huge accomplishment, and you should celebrate that with your team. And it's a classy move. And it's not saying we're not classy, but I'm just like the other guys. Like I'm seeing Duke fans, I'm letting them know about it.
Yeah.
And,
absolutely.
As fans, we should let all the Duke fans know how bad they sucked. And a lot of them won't even know because the typical Duke fan, they don't keep up with the game. They just claim a Duke fan. So we'll do the trash talking for you guys. And listen, I'm going to be doing a lot of trash talking because I know a lot of Dukies. And I'm going to let them know about it.
No brotherhood, guys. Yeah, well, that's you're all good points all around, and on to the ACC tournament. I mean, we'll settle everything there. So before I get into that, just a reminder: go download the Autograph app. Those guys take care of us. You can help take care of us by taking care of them. Just download the Autograph app using Sleep Hawk Worldwide link. We've got it in our show notes, in our YouTube description. We've got it in our bio. You get all the best college basketball, all the Carolina stuff's all in one place, man. If you want to listen to Inside Carolina, it's there. You want to listen to Adam and Jones, it's there. You want to listen to any number of other Carolina podcasts, read Carolina articles, keep up with anything that's going on. It's all in one place. It really is a cool app. If you haven't checked it out, just do it. I'm telling you, we both have it. We both rely on it to prep for the pod and to learn what's going on. And it's going to be even more fun to check out now because, I mean, as you start getting down to tournament time, both conference and NCAA tournament, it's a great place to get all this information and keep up with what's going on. So going into the ACC tournament, here's how things shook out. So the final standings, I'll just run through them real quick, Big Hawk, is Carolina, Duke, Virginia at 3, Pitt at 4. Great year for Pitt. Clemson at 5. Syracuse, who a lot of people laughed at 6. Wake Forest at 7. Virginia Tech 8. Florida State 9. NC State 10. Boston College 11. Georgia Tech 12. Notre Dame 13. Miami, I'm losing track of what number I'm on. They're so far down the list. Miami at 14 and Louisville at 3 and 17, 8 and 23 on the year. They are really struggling the last couple of years. Dead last. I mean, like, there's last, and then there's like dead last. Okay, and Louisville is, God bless them, ain't no chance. Okay, if you want to make some money, go reverse mortgage your house for however much you can and bet it on Louisville to not win the ACC tournament and just take the $10. Okay. I bet you could bet $11.5 million on Louisville to not win the ACC tournament, and they'd give you $10 for that. Lose your house, car, and everything if they run it. They're terrible. Anyway, sorry, I don't even. That was a tangent.
They suck.
That was not
way of hiding it.
Anyway.
The record shows who they are.
So they're gonna hop out there. So all anybody cares about, listen, this is Carolina. We're gonna play noon Thursday. We'll play the winner of Virginia Tech, Florida State. But what do you think about kind of how things shook out in the tournament? I'm sorry, in the conference play, and what that means for kind of ACC teams as we look toward the NCAA tournament. Who do you think is in? Who do you think has to play well to get in? And who do you think any maybe dark horses are?
I've always said Clemson's a dark horse, and I think they have the talent and the players to kind of prove that. If you look at their players, I think P.J. Hall is one of the best bigs in the country. We saw that in the Smith Center. They also have a more veteran kind of guard who can hit shots as a knockdown shooter, Joe Girard. Unbelievable. And the In Shefflin kid, he makes winning plays. He's tough, big, physical. He gets things done. So I could see Clemson making a run in the ACC tournament, but also Clemson to me is in the tournament. And I realize that they finished 5th in the final regular season standings in the ACC. But if you look at their net ranking put out by the NCAA, it's 27th, which is not bad. That means
a tough schedule, had some big wins.
Yeah, and so they played and you look at a comparison as far as like Syracuse, who finished 6th, their net ranking is a 79. So it shows you why teams play a tough schedule before conference play. And Clemson did that. They had some big wins. The win at Alabama was big for them. They got on a pretty good run to start the season. They're a team that can make a run. But also you look at tournament teams, obviously us, UNC, Duke's in, Clemson's in. I wouldn't put Pitt in, even though they finished 4th in the ACC standings. Their net ranking is 44. They still have some work to do. They need to win a few games in the ACC tournament.
Which I think they're capable of.
They're capable. They have one of the better players, the Blake Henson kid. He can go on a run. Virginia, their net ranking is 51. Even though they finished 3rd in the ACC, it's just like been a weird year for them. They've been like had some conference success. They've lost some atrocious games.
Yeah.
Just like Virginia fashion. I think Tony Bennett is a good coach, but I'll be damned, you'll never see me watch a full game. Just not going to watch that.
5-6 on the road too. That's tough.
Yeah, and I don't see them in. So the only teams for sure I have in are Clemson, North Carolina, and Duke. I think we'll get more teams. Wake Forest, they finished 7th. They did not close out the regular season all that well, but their net ranking is 37. So I just think that their public perception right now is so bad, it's actually going to carry over and hurt them when the committee talks about Wake Forest. So they're going to need to go on a run.
9 on the road. Wow.
Yeah, that's not good, buddy. And that's not going to get you, it's not going to get you the benefit of the doubt from the committee.
They make the tournament. There's your like 13 versus. No, well, I mean they won't be the seed ahead of whoever they're playing, but there's your sleep dog lead pipe lock because they ain't gonna play it at Wake Forest. So
listen,
big whoever they're playing.
I think Wake Forest should pack lightly. They shouldn't pack heavy. They should
pack one pair of underwear.
Yeah, I wouldn't pack too much stuff because it's going to be a quick trip. I'm not a big believer in them.
You're going to be there long enough to shit your pants.
The Hunter Silas kid can hoop though, but Wake's not that good. Sleep. But right now I for sure only have 3 teams in, unfortunately, and the ACC always does. It's not. Doesn't get the hype that it traditionally has, but Duke, North Carolina, Clemson, they're all in the tournament right now.
But I think Virginia will play well in the ACC tournament, and I think they get 1 or 2 wins. They're going to be there. I mean, it's hard to finish at the top of the league and not at least get a tournament bid. The thing about Pitt that's interesting to me, I know you said they had some work to do, but having that one kid, what's his name?
Blake Henson. I
mean, he's a great player. He's a scorer. And I think that's the thing too that happens in tournament scenarios is that one guy, he's like, dude, this is my shot and I'm going for it. And some of those guys just really show out. And I think he's one that can do that. And I think, there's a world that exists where Duke and Carolina, kind of already have their ticket punched. I mean, Carolina's guaranteed 2 seed. It's funny to me. I saw Lenardi saying that Duke was still a 2 seed. I think it's like, dude, you got to be kidding me. It might be a 4 seed after that drubbing. But you know, there's a world that exists. I could see where Duke, Carolina go out early, and then a couple of these other teams, it makes room for a Syracuse or a Pitt or Virginia or a Wake Forest to like, you know, get deeper into the tournament and then really move themselves like squarely onto the bubble, which I think for some of these teams is probably where they want to be. So again, I'll give a quick rundown. We're not going to do a whole full-blown preview of the ACC tournament. It starts for the first round on Tuesday. Guys, this is the greatest time of the year. 2 p.m. on Tuesday, you'll be playing basketball. All right. Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. I mean, you might rather work than watch that game. And then speaking of rather working than watching something, that's what I'll be doing at 4:30, which is when NC State plays Louisville. Holy snooze is on. I think I might just go to the library and check out a couple books. 7 o'clock, Boston College, Miami. That'd be a good game. Then Wednesday, you got Virginia Tech, Florida State at noon. Winner of that game is going to play the Tar Heels the following day at noon. 2:30, you got Wake Forest, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech winner. You got 7, you got Syracuse versus State Louisville winner. 9:30, you've got Clemson versus Boston College, Miami winner. So it's really the Wednesday and Thursday that are the good ones because you got 39 games on it. 3,000 dudes from the damn University of Phoenix playing ITT Tech. Dudes hitting buzzer beaters to try to win the conference. Wow. Colgate. Yeah. No, they don't make toothpaste. Sometimes they make buzzer beaters and go to the tournament. I mean, anyway, and then you start getting into Thursday is when Carolina, Pitt, Duke, and Virginia play. And then you go from there. Championship, 8:30 p.m. on Saturday the 16th. Then Sunday you will find out, Selection Sunday, who all these people are. You'll find out that R.J. Davis, presumably, is Conference Player of the Year, and Hubert is presumably ACC Coach of the Year. That's my 2 cents. Your 2 cents, I should say, because we chatted about that before.
Yeah, it's an easy one.
I think so too. But yeah, so DC for the ACC tournament this year. I wish I could make it, but I will not be there. Hopefully, regardless, even if Carolina gets a 1 seed or doesn't get the 1 seed, hopefully they'll open in Charlotte. Maybe we can make that one. It's a fun time of year. I had a kid on Friday. All right, I think, dude, time just doesn't even exist to me right now. And the best thing about it was the kid was born a day before the Carolina Duke game. So it was awesome. And there's a story that I'm going to share before we get off of here. And I hope I don't lose my shit. You want to know what this thing matters to people, dude? I was walking out of the hospital. They released us today. It was cool, getting ready to go home. I'm wearing the same shirt I've been wearing for, I think, like 3 days right now. Okay, guys, I'm running on fumes, like right now, much less earlier. I'm walking out of the hospital and to put some stuff in the car because we've got to go around and pick up Mary, my wife. And there's this guy, and he's walking by himself, and it's a beautiful day outside. I walk outside, there's not a cloud in the sky. It always seems like after we beat Duke in a really big game, you go outside and there's not a cloud. It's a Carolina blue sky, right? The guy's a little step ahead of me, notices I got, the ones on, Carolina hoodie and stuff. He goes, "Hey, man, go Heels." And I said, "Yeah, man. What a game last night." I said, it was my son's first day on earth. And he said it was my dad's last. And, man, it just hit me. And so I don't know, dude. You think this thing doesn't mean something to people? It's just, it was a cool moment. The dude's name was Todd. I wish I'd known what his dad's name was. I wish I knew what his name was. So if you know anybody named Todd, as a Carolina fan, man, I just wanted to share that, dude. It was cool. It was, I don't know. I just never really got too emotional. And that dude said that, and I just lost it, dude. It was, it was a cool thing. And it really does, man. It means something to people. So it's, as these guys, we're fans and we're crazy and we're maniacal. I'm sitting here in a freaking room, dude. I got all this shit on. My kids just can't even see out of his eyes yet. Yeah. Right. So I take the little hospital bed speaker and I'm holding it down there. I'm going all crazy trying to make this kid care. I was like, this kid doesn't even know what planet he's on yet.
Man, Sleep, I just want to say, bro, I'm extremely happy, and congratulations to you and Mary. And I think you guys are going to be great parents. And also that interaction you had with Todd. If Todd's listening, man, we're all thinking about you. I know you're going through it, and that's a real tough situation. But I'm glad the Tar Heels got a dub, and hopefully you got a little smile out of that. And it shows you that sports is super important. It unites a lot of people. And I remember growing up, some of my favorite memories are watching sports with my dad, like many other people. And it's a great bonding experience for a lot of people. I just wanted to say that.
It teaches you a lot of shit, man. And I hope this message finds him, man, because I had so many regrets after he walked off. It wasn't the right time to say, hey, man, subscribe to the Sleep Hawk Worldwide podcast, you know. But I hope this message finds him, man, because it was a moment that you just never expect, and I'll remember it for the rest of my life, man. It really put into perspective what I just got done with, and how really really precious it was. And I appreciate everybody, all these people that have reached out, man. It means a lot. I appreciate you, Big Hawk. I'm glad I got back to do this. And hey, listen, guys, I got a saint in the other room right here. She was like, yeah, you can do the podcast. We got a kid who looks like a burrito, and she's like can barely walk. I got a dog that's in diapers. I got a kid that's in diapers. And, honestly, I got a wife that's in diapers too. So I'll be in the hospital here too if I don't cut this off and get out of here. But you got anything else, Big Hawk?
Stay safe.
Stay safe.